Hello. In today's topic, I'm going to focus on the hybrid Active Directory setting up and also the hybrid file system replication and migration. Now, first of all, on the third chapter, we have been talking about how to set up the federal single sign-on between the existing premises corporate premises towards the cloud by building up the two-way trustness between the existing AD server and the external AWS like IAM product. We can establish by using the Simon 2.0 to establish the trustness between the corporate and the third party, the cloud single sign-on product. By coming back with the credentials, which is from the IAM, and the user can access the application for those AWS applications. Now, obviously, that part will be the foundation. And the first diagram, it's mimic the similar scenarios, which is corporate premises going to build up the two-way forest trust between its domain controllers towards the AWS directory services. The directory services within the AWS can be the management services by the AWS, or can be the Microsoft self-managed directory services. But regardless which scenario we're going to use, set up the two-way forward trust between the premises AD or DC server domain controller with the AWS directory service server. That's the key. That's number one. Number two, let's talk about how we can do the file migration or the file sharing replication between the premises towards the cloud. Amazon have a product called FSx, which is a file share services, which is support Microsoft and also support the Linux NFS product services. So the right side, which is on the premises, look at the user try to access the file services. This is a Windows user. You try to access using the SMB protocols, and the file services. Obviously, we are going to authenticate the user to the domain controls. Now let's assume we're going to migrate the file server to the FSx within the AWS. How we can do that? We need to enable the DFS, distributed file systems, from the file server with the FSx. The FSx, we're going to receive the file sharing and file replication from the premises file server. By enable the replication, the file and data of the file, we're going to send crossover from the premises towards the AWS. Now there's two things we need to make sure. First of all, you need to make sure there's enough bandwidth underneath. The product such as Direct Connect or VPN, side-to-side VPN with VPC pairing, that's going to be, make sure that's going to be sufficient for the file transfer. Sometimes the file transfer can take days or weeks. So we need to have a little bit calculations in hand and make sure we have enough bandwidth for that. Similar scenario also happened and applied in the block storage. Let's say if we have some block storage data need to be migrated from the premises towards the cloud, let's say the Oracle database or the Microsoft SQL Server database. And we need to do the same thing, calculate the things and make sure enough bandwidth. And second, we also need to make sure there's, the two-way trustness is going to be enabled between the premises to the cloud. So let's say by doing, after several hours or days or weeks, the file replication has been complete, and then we can switch off and switch the target group from the premises file server towards the AWS FSx. And all the user later on can point to the FSx. And the user just be transparent. They don't aware about their, their file sharings are already hosted and moving towards the cloud. Similar scenario also applied in the GCP and Microsoft Azure. And I can talk about the details in the remaining in the separate content